if there was a tip that you could give that you could pass along to the audience, what would that tip be?
Know what you're good at. You stay in your lane and spend the most amount of time that you possibly can in what you're good at, and either hiring or delegating for what you're not. That is ultimately the only way to scale, and the only way to truly enjoy your job too. Because if you try to do everything, you can't, and you're just going to be completely overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice.
Well, it's like we talked about, right? So it's like the yin and the yang, right? So like you're good at this. So find someone else that is good at stuff that you're not good at.
Welcome to the podcast dedicated to real estate, insurance, and everything in between. Join us as we take you along our own brokerage building journeys with additional wisdom from our network of business experts. Welcome to Bricks and Risk. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Bricks and Risk. I'm Tim Garrity.
And I'm Sean Mooney.
And today, Sean, we have a very special guest.
Who do we got?
Very excited about this one. We have my buddy Kyle Kelly from My City Mortgage. Kyle is a guy I've known for a while. Actually, I knew Kyle when I was working for my last brokerage before I even started Copper Hill. And Kyle's a great guy, huge hustler. Good to see you today, Kyle.
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
Welcome on into the show.
Yeah, so I'm going to dive right into it. So here we go. I like to do research when we talk to people. I like to know a little bit about them before we have a conversation. I mean, I know you pretty well. We were tailgating the Eagles game a couple weeks ago, having a great time. Thank you for that, by the way.
Wait, was that your investigation? Your process?
Yeah, exactly.
Go to the tailgate.
Yeah,
find Kyle.
It was a good time. It was a Kelly Green game too, so it was awesome.
Not want to know what the question is, but let's have it.
So tell me about KAS Apparel, because, Sean and I are entrepreneurs. I know you're very entrepreneurial, and it looks like you were doing that kind of prior to the mortgage business. So why don't you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, you really dug deep there to find
where did you find that?
It's called LinkedIn.
So funny because at the time, I had some friends and family busted me because CAS stood for Kelly Apparel and Signs, so it was really Kelly Apparel and Signs, Apparel and Signs. If you
a little redundant.
Yeah, naming a business really wasn't my forte then, but so that really started in high school. So when I was younger, used to play music, so there was always merch stands and everything like that, making T-shirts, and it was always really cool to have your own T-shirts or print or whatever. And also grew up around Lake Wallenpaupack. So a lot of the boats had, name decals on the boats and everything like that. So I'm like, all right, well, let's figure out a way to make a couple extra bucks. So started printing out some names, putting them on some boats, and coming up with some designs. And then it just kind of was like, all right, well, I could also heat press T-shirts. So let's do that. As I got into college, there's, multiple different events, parties, sororities, fraternities, everything like that. Everyone's making a bunch of different T-shirts. So started getting more into the heat pressing with just kind of adding on to the stuff that I had, and then got more into screen printing as well. So taking on larger orders, it just kind of like organically got bigger. And then I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to have the time while in college to work at a bar or work at a store or anything like that. So let's just keep this going. So was able to kind of let that be my job throughout college. It was, not like I was lighting the world on fire, but it definitely, taught me a lot of different things about going out, hustling, going out, asking for business, and customer service, really.
So what happened? You sell that off to private equity? What happened?
Yeah, I think I sold the Craigslist.
Highest bidder.
Yeah, that's all. Well, yeah, all right. So
that's really funny because now that I have like a toddler, all these parties that come up, it used to just be fun too. Like, did it as a job, get large orders, 20 shirts here, 100 shirts a year. I think the largest order was maybe like 300 shirts or
Wow.
so at a time. Where I'd get some help there, and we were running a screen printing business out of a basement in college. But yeah, now that I have a toddler, I'm like, man, I kind of miss printing those custom T-shirts. Birthday comes up or whatever it is, you kind of just make it, cut it, print it. So
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'll have
Printify.
to.
That's right.
I think you sparked the interest back up.
Right. All right. So you're from the Scranton area.
Yeah,
You went to Bloomsburg. So you were doing this in college, and then you
yeah.
got into the mortgage business. That's how you and I met. Um, Tell me a little bit about that. Like, why did you decide to get into the mortgage business? Did you like have family or friends? Was it something you were just interested in? Good with numbers? Like, what kind of got you there?
Yeah, so I've always had a general interest in real estate. So whether it was just kind of, driving around, looking at houses, just kind of browsing through at the time, it was just the newspaper, and
Yeah.
there would be all the houses for sale. We didn't really, Zillow wasn't as big, back then or any of the online sources. So just kind of understanding that and just having an appreciation for it. Then went to school for finance and economics. So, you know, thought I was going to get into, stock trading, commodities trading, and then realized that that world really wasn't for me. Went, interviewed at a few different spots, whether I wasn't the fit or maybe I wasn't the fit for them, but it did not work.
Yeah.
That going to New York and ended up in Philadelphia. The reason I chose mortgage too, I had, family members, my cousin, my brother,
Yeah.
they were all working mortgage. They were doing really well. And I had interest in it. So shadowed them a few times and just kind of learned about what they're doing, the problem solving, and also just, you're part of, it's a big deal. At the time, not owning a home, I couldn't even fathom purchasing a home.
Right.
So it seemed like something really cool to get into at the time. So, I dove head first.
How hard
awesome.
was it getting started, going from like completely out of it, graduating school and then really kind of ramping up and, getting into the business and finding some successes?
It was tough, man. I mean, so going from Scranton to Philly, didn't have any family down here, so it was just more of, moved in with some
Craigslist
buddies.
people.
I ended up in the four guy house in Manayunk,
Oh
as I
yeah.
called it.
Been there, done that. I know you have.
Yeah.
The old halfway house from college life to real life.
I used to call it, do you know what? I used to call it college 2.0 because we all graduated and we're all like living this life in Manayunk and we're going out. I'm like, we're college students with money.
Yeah.
Because we're all working. So yeah, it was a great time.
Fountain Street, right?
Yeah, Fountain Street. That's where.
Yeah.
Always get to work on time too. I definitely could.
I know.
Yeah.
I went back and not do that again. But no, so it was, going out to the office at the time was in Westchester.
Oh wow.
So it was kind of, I had to figure out a commute because, I didn't really understand 76 and all that that was. Because, when I accepted the job, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, look, 32 minutes. That's not bad. But I was also looking at 10 o'clock at night.
That's at 3:30 in the morning, Kyle.
Yeah. So they were actually really cool at the time about, I created my own schedule of going in either a little bit later and staying later or figuring out different ways to get around the traffic.
Awesome.
But I learned more just from the soup to nuts, right? So I did processing, opening loans, some very, very light underwriting. At the time, I was working for Mortgage Network with Jim Smedley and Bob Johnson were their names. They gave me a shot. They'll be the first ones, and anyone that was in that office to let you know, I am the worst processor in all of mortgages. I did not.
They remind you daily.
Well, this is, as you're getting good at this, as you're getting good at this, you have to find your lane. So it sounds like you started finding your lane. So you knew you weren't good at processing. Like, were you just like, hey, like, how did you hit it? Were you doing cold leads? Were you going by relationship? Like, how did you start?
Well, I mean, it was, they knew it. I mean, it was really just an entry level. You have to learn mortgages, right? no one should ever just go into whatever they're doing and just jump right into it. So if you're working in the sales side or the origination side of starting it and communicating with, the consumers to help them structure a loan, you need to know what a loan actually is. So that was the purpose of that. But I mean, when I said I just had no passion to be processing. I'm not an office guy. I'm not a 9 to 5 guy. So I was out, setting up appointments every day after work, just going out, getting, a drink, sitting down, chatting with people, networking, anything that I can to build a book of business. And I'm, telling them, I'm working on my license. I'll be, starting soon, even though I don't think my company really wanted me to be a loan officer yet.
Yeah.
They wanted me in the office, but it ended up, all working out.
That's great. All right. So fast forward to today. So you've been in the mortgage business, what, about 10 years, 10 plus years or so?
About 10 plus years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was.
So you've been doing it 10 plus years. Now you're a branch manager at My City Mortgage. Talk about how that came to be. Because I know you guys are doing well. You're a big player in the city. We know a lot of the same people. You work with a lot of the top agents out there. So kind of how did that come to be and where is it today?
Yeah. So we've been, when we switched from Mortgage Network to RMS Mortgage, then we left there and I've been with the same team ever since. So my cousin Jason he's the regional manager for My City. And our whole team, when we got up and shifted, we kind of just did it as a full team. There's people that have been with the part of the same team for over 10 years.
Wow.
So super tight knit group that has just kind of grown over time.
And what's that team? Is it so the roles within the team? So you're the kind of manager, and then who's kind of your team underneath?
Yeah. So in the Philly area, we have, there's a few of us. When I met, actually one of my best friends in college was Ryan Harsh, and we met back up in Philadelphia. And at the time he was working at another mortgage company. And then we kind of combined there and have been working together ever since. We have some other loan officers that work with us as well and support staff. But, we've just really grown it down here in Philly, ever since. And just, the thing that we decided that we wanted to do was have a more broad sense of lending, where we do have some niches and we get hyper focused on it. We do offer multiple different types of lending. So investors, first time home buyers, all of that. And we had a very similar mindset of what we want to do.
Awesome. Hey everyone, this is Tim, your favorite Bricks and Risk co-host, but don't tell Sean. I hope you're enjoying this episode, and I'll get right back to it in a moment. Our audience grows through word of mouth, so if you would please take a moment of your time and give us a review on the platform you're on, that would be fantastic. Please also help spread the BNR word by sharing your favorite episode with a friend. We greatly appreciate your time and trust. Now, back to the show. All right, so we know you're super entrepreneurial. We know you're a mortgage expert, and now you're a manager. So again, you've gone through a lot of different steps in your business career so far. So, and I know mortgage is your bread and butter. I know that's what pays the bills. That's what you're passionate about. But like me, we all have side passions. We all do different things. I do a bit of development. So we flip homes. We invest in bigger real estate. We have a title business. Mooney, you have your standard insurance company, but you also do a little bit more too.
I have a podcast.
You do have a podcast with probably close to 5.5 million listeners
Something
now?
like
Yeah.
that.
So tell me about your hotel project, because I remember talking about that not that long ago. We were chatting about it. You're like, hey, I'm going through the city. This is a big deal. It's a big project. And then when I connected with you recently at the Birds game, you were talking about it again. You're like, yeah, we're getting closer. So share a little bit on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and when you were saying too about like the managerial and it's really just staying in your lane, right? Doing what you're best at. I was fortunate enough, and talking about the Birds game, I actually found that project at a Birds tailgate. So
no way.
So Sean Witter and Steve Stafford had
Yeah.
it
Yep. Know them.
with them. And, at the time we were really just looking for our office space. We're like, you know what? Let's just own the office space
I do. I
and let's
remember that. Yeah.
own a few Airbnbs. We understand it. We know it. Let's just do that. It needed to be CMX3 with the new zoning going on in Philadelphia. So found the right building, great location. We're like, let's just do it. Then we started building it out. We didn't like it for an office. So we're like, let's go all in on hotel. We're fortunate enough that we had an awesome team. So we have some really, really good strategic partners too that
What was the
everywhere.
meeting there? So we're going office, and then like, I don't know, Audible, hotel?
Yeah. Yo, how about a Marriott, fellas?
Yeah, so it was like, all right, so the building is really cool. It's in Alfred, it's across the street from Alfred's Alley.
Oh,
It had
phenomenal.
the same owner, the Gold family. So it was the Austrian gas lamp company. That was the name of it. It was the same company for 150 years, handed down. So we were really outside of just someone that bought it from them. We really are only the second owners.
Wow.
The person that held it in between just decided that it wasn't a project that he wanted to move forward with, and we saw it as an awesome opportunity. Now, when I said it was going to be our office, then we're like, all right, you know what? Let's just use this as a lobby. And then it's ever since, evolved with, the banking world is different. They want to see more, commercial tenants and everything like that. So our network has grown, and we've been fortunate enough that we have an awesome commercial tenant down there now. That's going to be starting up in probably about April.
Awesome.
And decided that, let's go full on hotel. The rooms are going to be super, it's going to be a really elevated experience. It's going to be nice. It's going to be really nice.
That's awesome.
How many rooms altogether?
There is 5 rooms, five suites. There is the commercial tenant in the front that's going to be doing like a juice bar, as well as like a cafe. And then we also have a speakeasy bar in the basement that's going to be for the guests to use, and then also for event rental. And then we have an outdoor courtyard that we are going to be working with a very well-known caterer to put together some smaller events, like 40, 50 person events. So it's going to be we're really excited about that.
Yeah, dude, that's phenomenal.
Awesome.
All right, so we talked about where you're from, talked about, printing t-shirts up in Scranton, to now you're a branch manager in Philadelphia, you have a family, you're developing hotels. So through all that, I mean, it's super entrepreneurial. Like, what do you like best about business? Because I know you are a phenomenal networker, and you've obviously executed throughout your career so far, and will continue to execute. So what do you like? What do you like about business?
Honestly, man, it's like no 2 days are the same. Like that's why I love the industry that we work in with real estate, and I just love being able to take an actual idea and bringing it to fruition. We had this idea, let's say with the hotel, and we had it like in our head of what this thing should look like, and we've changed a bit. But now that we're getting towards the end and we're seeing like the buzz and more and more people reaching out about it that want to stay there, and a lot of the promotion that's going out, it's really exciting to see it actually work. The same thing with mortgages as well. We are just we work hard. We're out there, we're networking, we're making sure that we do the right thing every single time, because that's the way that I've always done business. Is as long as you are doing the right thing, then it's gonna come back. Like that's all you have to do, is do the best job that you possibly can for that person, whether it is doing a loan for someone that's buying their first time home, whether you're working with an investor that's buying their hundredth house, or you are thinking about someone that's going to stay at one of your Airbnbs or a hotel room or something like that, creating the experience and just, leaving them with there's nothing more that they could say, but just raving reviews. Like I want them to finish and just be like, man, Kyle did an amazing job. You have to talk to him. about whatever it is that they're looking to do.
That's kind of the topics too that we talked about, like starting businesses. And, Tim and I on one of the shows were talking about, what's the best way to grow your business. And, I remember, talking here and just saying that, you can mass blanket and you can market to, thousands of people. But I mean, Tim and I really rely on the handshake and building those relationships and over delivering for our clients, which to your point has always, brought back referrals and, had good people steer us, good clients that we are able to build upon.
Yeah. And one thing we talked about in that episode too is we were talking about kind of like the foundation. What's the foundation of building a referral-based business? Which again, it comes down to delivering that customer service first, because if you deliver the customer service, then what's going to happen? You can ask confidently for that online review. Hey, can you go ahead to Google or wherever it is, Facebook or Zillow or whatever website it is, can you go ahead and give us a review? And it's going to be 5 stars because you're very confident in that. Not only that, once you get that review, that helps with your overall reach of just your brand itself, whether it's yourself or a company. But then that leads to referrals. It's a relationship game. And I'm so glad that we're having this conversation right now too, because I've watched you grow, Kyle, and it's been very impressive. And you and I have known the same people in our industry since you and I have known each other, because all those people are like-minded. They look at it the same way. It's about being professional. It's about learning. It's about taking care of people, whether they're your customer or a business vendor, or, hey, if someone comes to you and says, hey, do you know anyone who does insurance? And you're dropping Mooney's name. And that's what it's all about. And I love that. So it actually leads to some of our last questions here. So one is, if you could give a tip to your success in business, if there was a tip that you could give that you could pass along to the audience, what would that tip be?
Know what you're good at. You stay in your lane and spend the most amount of time that you possibly can in what you're good at, and either hiring or delegating for what you're not. That is ultimately the only way to scale, and the only way to truly enjoy your job too. Because if you try to do everything, you can't, and you're just going to be completely overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice.
Well, it's like we talked about, right? So it's like the yin and the yang, right? So like you're good at this. So find someone else that is good at stuff that you're not good at.
Yep.
Right? And it's like, that's how you become successful. You're not good at processing, right? But you're good at like shaking trees and stirring up business. Like, go do that.
Yeah.
Double down on what you're good at.
Yeah, it's interesting. That brings up another thing. I was listening to another podcast today. It's a real estate focused podcast, and they talk about teams. So you're familiar with teams in real estate. Obviously, like someone gets into real estate, they get good at it. What do? They build a team. And one of the things the guy that was on was saying was, don't build a team to build a team. Like, don't build a team because you think you're going to get rich, or you're going to be super successful, or you're going to be a leader, or you're going to be influential. Build a team because there aren't enough hours in the day for you to service those clients, which means you're good at sales, like you're good at business building, and then build those pieces around you. Get a buyer agent, get a transaction coordinator, get a marketing assistant, like get those people in place, because while you're good at those things, the reason you are where you are is because you know how to build a business. And once you build that business, it really can't scale on your own. You have to scale it with other people. And that really brought me back to this. So the last question I'll ask is quotes. So we love quotes.
We love quotes.
We talk about quotes all the time. Do you have a quote or quotes that you kind of live by, your mantra?
Well, I got a few, but the main one I love that my dad has told me since I was a young kid was work hard, play hard.
Nice.
Like, and I just feel as though, and like a lot of times that can come off as like, oh, you're just gonna go out and party. No, it's not that sense. But I know so many people that are so consumed in their work that they won't go out with, their family or their friends or anything like that. But then it's the same thing of, some people that are playing too hard that then just lose focus of their work. But ultimately, that's what it is. You have to keep that life balance. It's not even a work-life balance. You guys get it. As business owners, entrepreneurial, there is no work life. Your work is part of your life. It's part of your persona. So it's really just a life balance at that point. And it's just finding that good balance to sometimes just, go have a drink with your friends at the bar, relax.
Well, I think it's rewarding yourself too, right? Like you busted all week or whatever is like, you kind of deserve to be able to go out, let your hair down.
Oh yeah. Well, you got a ponytail under there, man. Something I don't know.
Not as good as Kyle. Kyle's got the flow. Got the lettuce.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And look, at the end of the day, it's not about getting to the top of the mountain. It's about the journey. And it's about climbing the mountain. And you're going to fall down a couple times and it's hard, but again, you could have all the money in the world, and if you don't have anyone to enjoy it with, or you don't have things that you love about life to go use that money toward, then what good is it? So to your point, working hard to play hard is fantastic advice.
Absolutely, man. It's like, take that vacation, even if it's just for the weekend, like go unwind. It feels so great sometimes to just turn your phone off. I've had one situation. We were on vacation. It was me and my wife, Mary, and then we were with our friends, Chris and Kara. And I got the cab home, and we were in Colombia, and I was letting them use my phone as like GPS.
Yeah.
And I stepped in the door for them. Forgot my phone. I went to open it. He drove away. But the next probably 4 of the best days of my life because I didn't have a phone. I ran around New Year's Eve. It was kind of frustrating, but you check in, you realize that, life does go on. You're able to go in and you can knock everything out in literally 1 hour. But you need that. You need to be able to unplug sometimes.
Some of those are the best, no cell service, right?
Yeah. So it's all about taking trips to Colombia and losing your phone. Be like, sorry, honey.
Sorry.
Guess
couldn't check.
Guess I can't text you if I go out tonight.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, hey, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. And I know you have a family, you have a busy career, but why don't you let people know, let the audience know, what's the best way to find you? What's the best way to reach out to you if they want to learn more?
Yeah, the best way to reach out, honestly, is, you can look me up on Instagram. It's just Kyle Kelly Mortgage. DM me through there. Take a look. I try to post as much content as I can about mortgages. That's certainly something I'm going to be doing a lot more in 2024. But yeah, look up our company. So it's My City Mortgage. We do mainly, residential. So first-time home buyers, second homes. We've really gotten a niche into Airbnb as well, just from, living in that space so much. So if you have any questions about that or want to learn about how to start building, a real estate portfolio with some different types of loan products, reach out.
Awesome. Fantastic. What about the hotel? When's this? We're going to go live with a hotel.
Awesome hotel.
What's the name? You didn't share the name. What's the name of it?
Get the handle.
Gaslamp Hotel. So we felt that was very, very important. I'm all about good juju. So, it was the Austrian gas lamp company for 150 years. So we're going to go with the Gaslamp Hotel and hopefully, keep that going. I just got a text message right before this that the original owners were walking by one day, and while some of our partners were there hanging out, and they're getting us a bunch of like the original receipts and different stuff that was up on the wall.
Awesome. Very cool.
We're really excited about that. It's just going to just elevate that experience even more.
That's fantastic. So
that's awesome.
We're going to go ahead and end with that, folks. So thank you for tuning in to another edition of Bricks and Risk. See you soon. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Bricks and Risk. Our goal is that you walk away with 1 or 2 valuable nuggets, and we greatly appreciate you sharing your time with us today. You can find all BNR episodes on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and anywhere else you get your podcast content. Until next time, keep learning and keep growing.